When we think about what the average American eats on the daily basis, we think for breakfast, bacon and eggs, for lunch, a ham and cheese sandwich, and for dinner, some chicken and maybe some vegetables. If we take a closer look at all of these foods, they are all derived from animals. Today, I want to persuade you to think that being a vegan is the best way to help the climate. I've written about this subject multiple times throughout my academic career, so I've collected a lot of data and research on this topic. Now, I myself am not a vegan, but I am aware of what I put into my body as well as how it affects the environment. Most people, when they think of what causes climate change, they think of not recycling enough or the burning of fossil fuels. All of those are valid, but one of the leading causes of climate change is because of the livestock industry. Today, I will present to you the environmental issues caused by the livestock industry as well as the solutions. What we eat has a huge impact on the environment, and there are a lot of resources that go into this industry. 1,800 gallons of water are used to produce 1 pound of ground beef. This water is used to water the crops that are fed to the cows, how much of the water the cows consume, as well as the rest of the production process. To put this in perspective, 1 pound of ground beef is equal to you taking 98 minute showers. Not only does this industry affect the water shortage, but it also affects deforestation. Land is needed to grow the crops to feed the farm animals as well as the land used for the livestock themselves. And as the demands for meats and dairy increase, so does the land use. And the Amazon rainforest is targeted for the livestock industry because of their ideal weather conditions and their fertile soil. Now, when deforestation causes a lot of CO2 emissions because the trees take in CO2, and when they are cut down, CO2 is then emitted right back into the environment. Now, this leads me to my next topic, which is greenhouse gas emissions. So, according to the Humane Society International, 30 to 40% of all global methane emissions are produced by farm animals. Now, this is important because 1 ton of methane is equivalent to 25 tons of CO2, which means that this is a more potent greenhouse gas. Another important fact is that methane has an atmospheric lifetime of 10 years, while CO2 has an atmospheric lifetime of millennials and centuries, which means that the removal of methane or the reduction of methane will have a more immediate impact and effect on the environment. These are only some of the environmental issues caused by the livestock industry. Next, I will address the solutions, reducing the consumption of meat and dairy, or veganism all the way. According to Blaine from the Smithsonian Magazine, the human appetite for animal flesh is a driving force behind virtually every major category of environmental damage now threatening the human future. The way we eat today is not sustainable. 3 acres of land is needed to sustain a diet for someone who consumes meat and dairy, while a vegan diet only needs 1/6 of an acre. Now, the question is eating a cheeseburger worth stripping the environment of all of its natural resources? A change in our diet is necessary if we want the world to be here for next generations to live in. These changes consist of making switches in our diet, such as taking normal cow's milk and switching it out for almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, and just decreasing our consumption of meats and dairies by having Meatless Monday, meaning that every Monday Every meal that you have does not contain meat. This is a practical way of, gradually decreasing your consumption. Watching documentaries could also motivate you to limit your consumption, such as Forks Over Knives and Cowspiracy, which are both available on Netflix. I'd like to conclude my speech by stating that the future of our world is our responsibility. Greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and water shortages are all caused by the livestock industry. The way we eat is not sustainable, but there is still time to change. We only have one world, and everyone in it is affected by climate change. A simple change in our diet can create a healthy environment for future generations.